What's up guys, welcome back to another video. This one's pretty long overdue, a car that a lot of people have been asking about and talking about, seeing it in the background and stuff. The mighty blown L98 VESS that we built. So we've had a magnitude of issues with this thing, mostly to do with operating software. Won't go into too much detail and bore you with the details, but we finally got to the bottom of it, and we're finally going to get this thing sorted out today and back to the customer. We're hoping to get this thing down to Power Cruise next week, so sort of busting us trying to get it done now. So anyway, enjoy. Gonna finally get the tune finalized with the proper OS and everything else on the ECU, and then we should be right to go and finally see some street driving out of this thing, because it's gonna be a freaking monster. So anyway, got Rexbird on the laptop today, get this thing sorted, and hopefully we're gonna see how we go for time. We do have some E85 here. If we get time today, we'll get the E85 tune done as well. If not, we'll try and get the E85 tune done next week, still prior to Power Play. So today is the 4th February? Yes, so today's the 4th. Power Play's on the 13th. So we've got, trying to get it done today, get it back to the customer, give it a bit of a shakedown this weekend, hopefully get it back next week if we don't get the E85 done today, and hopefully have it all sorted ready for Power Cruise next week, or Power Play next week on the 13th. So, see how we go. Alright guys, so we're finally off the dyno. We're finally actually really happy with this thing now. We've had a lot of things working against us. The way this thing has gone, I could probably sit here and talk to you for hours about things that have been working against us with this car. But anyway, one of the biggest things we found is we're not quite sure that the injector data we've been supplied for the injectors is 100% correct. And because these things have got a smart alternator in them, they've got a smart charge alternator, as it's changing voltage, when the alternator's kicking in and out for different things, it seems to want to change the actual fueling quite a bit. So it's a few things like that that have been working against us, that all we've been able to do really is just try and get the best information we can get and tune to what we've got the best we can. But regardless, super happy with this thing now. A lot more resolution being used than when it was first tuned a little while ago, and still making consistently that between 550 to 560 sort of at the wheels. So I think the peak number we got was 570 at one point. So, you know, still making a heap of grunt. So it's finally off the dyno now. We're going to change these wheels back over to his stock wheels that he runs on the daily. And then we start on the gearbox tuning, which we're pretty sure we've got fairly close to the dyno, but as these guys know, it's not really something you can rely on the dyno to do as far as gearbox tuning goes. So it's nice to look at now that we've got the front end all back on it now as well. It's a really nice car. I really, really do like the VE and VF. I think they're a really, really nice shape. Would own out of 10. So pretty stoked that the gearbox so far seems to be doing pretty well. As you guys all know, it was always a bit of a question mark running this much power through a stock 6L. So, so far so good, and we're pretty confident, you know, there should be no instances on street driving or even, you know, a bit of track work, unless he's hard launching at the drags, where he should be able to load up the gearbox as hard as it gets loaded up, strapped down on the dyno with our sticky tires for the dyno on it. So realistically, these power runs, the way we've been doing power tuning on this thing, should be the most it ever loads up this gearbox. And so the fact that the gearbox seemed to have held up to this tuning all fine, fingers crossed that the gearbox is going to be okay, because the way this thing behaves on the street, it's just going to fry tires. I don't think it's going to load up at all. It is, yeah, it's pretty wild. You can see even how much our, you know, specialized tires for the dyno that are recommended by Dyno Dynamics that we have specifically for this purpose. Even they were just like beaten up, getting real hot. Like this thing, it's going to be very, very forced.
Very forced core. Forced core.
Anyway, guys, we didn't get time to do E85 today. We're going to think about E85 doing it next week as well. We are sort of a little bit worried about this gearbox. The more we read about it, the more we're starting to think we are really, really walking a fine line with the way the gearbox is. So we'll talk to the owner. We'll come up with a plan, see if we want to do it. But we're going to let him take it back this weekend and obviously just shake it down and stuff. And he might even just decide that it's a monster enough as it is. So
yeah, it's way too long. Other than that, once you get up, it's about 100k an hour and doing about 2 grand. It's nice and happy. Couple of second. Yeah, that box feels good, eh? Yeah. And like you can see cruising, it's only trimming like 2-3%, it's pretty good. Down at 12 volts. So, sort of thing that's really, so this is the sort of thing that's really frustrating because obviously having a smart alternator, it's doing what it's meant to do, the alternator is. But the injector offsets and the data for the voltage offsets for dead times is meant to be exactly prevent this. It is meant to particularly prevent exactly this situation where your injectors are consistent across all voltage. So it's a real pain in the ass. It just seems like the injector data is not really correct. So just like completely dropped the alternator there for quite a while, and then randomly, nearly when we got back in the driveway, it just picked up the alternator again. But instead of going back up to 15 volts, we're back up to about 14 now. So it's a little bit rich, but it's okay. But like when it dropped out, it was 12 volts. It was just rich as. So it's just, we're pretty sure the alternator's cooked, coming and going. But that's only one problem. The fact is that the changes in voltage should not affect fueling this much. The injector offset data should prevent this sort of thing from happening. So still got to try and get to the bottom of this, why it's happening. But you know, at its sort of 14 volts, it's pretty good, and that's when we tuned it, and that's everything sweet there. But once it drops down in voltage, it just starts getting rich as. Anyway guys, this is what I was talking about at the start of this video when I told you I could sit here and talk to you for literally hours about all the problems we've had with this thing. It's just like things like this, and it's just been one after another. It's a bit of like the Swiss cheese scenario where it seems that it's compounding. All of these little problems we have keep compounding each other and you know, accentuating each other, and it just makes it so hard to work with. So the things are so sensitive to so much stuff, these Gen 4 PCMs. They're very complicated in how they actually calculate what they want to do. So even as much as having a battery that's not up to scratch could cause a lot of issues as far as how the smart alternator works and everything else. But anyway, bottom line is that if the injector data was correct and the injectors were actually offsetting their pulse width to do, offsetting their dead times for the correct voltages they're seeing, it should be consistent. This whole issue with fueling is what's really doing our head in, because you know, they're Raceworks injectors. We bought them from a reputable dealer. They're really good injector, and they came with very extensive injector data, but it just seems to not be correct. So might be time to start looking at trying to see what voltage the actual injectors are seeing versus what the ECU is seeing, and the way ECU is actually adjusting the dead times. So I don't know, it's freaking hard. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. Every time we think we've got this thing sorted, something else like this happens. It's just annoying. Anyway, outside of this fueling issue with the injectors, as far as the box tuning goes, there's a little bit of work we've got to do to the shift points. A few of the downshifts are a bit too early, and a few of the upshifts are a bit too late. So a few little things we've got to do with that, but that's not really a problem compared to the fueling. All right guys, so I ended up having Sunday off, spent the day with the fam, but while I was off on Sunday, the owner of this car actually got a new alternator and Rex installed it, so we've now got a new alternator that's playing the game properly, and it's, you know, having decent voltage, not outrageous voltage, which is awesome. So that worked. Not only that, but Rex actually just went through and manually manipulated all of the injector data so that it actually was running correctly at pretty much most voltages. So we've ended up with pretty much all of our own injector data that's been input. So that's pretty much where we are now. But at this stage, everything's sweet. It's running pretty well. Well, you know, it's running as good as it has been the whole time it's been here, now that it's actually got proper injector data and it's actually sitting at 14 volts. So we're just doing a little bit more work on the gearbox now, but this thing's getting pretty much to where we want it to be, and we're getting pretty excited about it going down to Power Play this weekend. It's going to be sick. So. It's just such a nice car.
Yeah, it does make me miss mine. I do miss mine now.
Yours was the Series 3 too.
Yeah, the very last one, Z Series and all. Fully option.
No, they're just a nice car. I'd love to own like a VF wagon. I think I've said it a million times, but I would drive the hell out of a VF clubby wagon. That would be so nice. Just another one of those things that had been pretty much probably fighting us the whole time, that alternator. Yeah, many things that have happened like that with this car, but it's getting exciting to have it sort of sorted, and it's just such a nice car. We're really excited to have our name on it.
Like, it just got so much grunt.
So much.
Oh, that's not up it. That's just a little bit of throttle, and it's just like
Pulls a little bit.
yeah, it pulls a little bit.
Anyway, still a bit more work to do on our shift points and shift scheduling and stuff, but it's getting pretty close. That's all you can do with something like this, is just keep driving it and keep perfecting it. It's like I always say, is the tune file's never actually finished. If you wanted to, you could spend days and weeks and months on a tune file getting it absolutely dialed in perfect. It's all, you know, a tune file is like a living file. It's never quite finished. It's just a matter of how quick you can get it really as best you can. Anyway guys, we'll keep on working at that through the week. Today's Tuesday, so Power Cruise is on, or Power Play I should say, is on Saturday. So we're just going to keep on working at that through the week, make sure it is crispy and perfect, exactly how we want it when it leaves here. And we're excited to take it down on Saturday. So just thought I'd make this a little bit of a video. Like I said, I actually have so much footage over the past 2 months or so since we sort of, you know, just doing little things, trying to get that sorted, and then having little things pop up that were fighting against us, and then overcoming that problem, and then realizing there was something else that was fighting against us. At this point, like I said, we're pretty much down to the bottom of it. And as much of a pain that this thing has been, we're so excited to, you know, we're so excited that it is so nice. It's just about at a point where we're happy to see it leave, and we're really excited about the car. We think it's going to be a really good fun car. It's just a really nice car. The thing has just got so much grunt, it's off tap. So 570 horse, but just like on tap. It's just absolutely sick. So anyway, look out for it at Power Play. Should be there. And thanks for watching as always, guys. Leave a comment, subscribe, head to the shop, check it out. Peace out, see you, bye.